Imagine being just 16, carrying a life inside you, and standing on the biggest stage of your life, with millions of strangers watching your every move. This is Lira's story, a Filipino teen whose voice shattered hearts, exposed raw pain, and left even the toughest judges in tears. Before we dive into her story, subscribe now for more stories that will touch your soul. Lira grew up in a small fishing village on the edge of the Philippines, where life was simple but often harsh. Her home was a tiny wooden shack by the sea, its roof leaking when storms came, the floor uneven beneath her feet. She lived with her mother, a quiet woman who worked tirelessly in a nearby market, and her younger brother, who idolized her despite her own struggles. Money was always tight, and food sometimes scarce, but the family shared what little they had. From an early age, Lira discovered that she had a gift. She could sing in a way that made even the sound of crashing waves seem to pause. Her melodies carried an emotion that was rare for someone so young. She would practice in secret, sitting by the shoreline as the sun set, her voice mingling with the cries of gulls and the rhythm of the waves. Music became her only escape, her private world where pain and dreams coexisted. But life threw her a devastating curveball. At 16, Lira discovered she was pregnant. Fear, shame, and uncertainty gripped her heart like a vice. How could she continue to dream of singing when her world had suddenly changed? Her friends, her village, and even strangers could be cruel. She worried about the judgment, the whispers, the disapproving stares. Most of all, she feared that this secret might crush her dreams before she ever had the chance to pursue them. Her mother's reaction was a mixture of sadness and resilience. She didn't scold or berate Lira. Instead, she held her close, whispered words of reassurance, and reminded her that her value was never diminished by circumstance. "We will face this together," her mother said. Those words gave Lira a small but burning spark of hope. She realized that while the world might judge her, love could still protect her, and dreams could still survive. Despite the fear, Lira continued to sing. Her voice became a diary, a place where she could pour her anguish, her hope, and her tiny fragments of courage. Each note carried her story, the story of a young girl who refused to be broken, a story of hardship and love intertwined. Then came the opportunity of a lifetime, the announcement of a national talent competition, America's Got Talent Philippines edition. Lira hesitated at first. Could she face the world with her secret? Could she stand in front of millions and not be crushed by judgment? After days of reflection, she decided that if she wanted to show the world her voice, she had to also show her truth. Backstage, Lira trembled. She clutched the fabric of her dress over her small baby bump, feeling its gentle movement. The weight of her situation, the judgment, and her dreams pressed down on her chest. She could hear the faint murmur of the audience, the buzz of anticipation, and the sharp intake of breath from other contestants. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just a performance. This was a statement. When she stepped onto the stage, the world seemed to pause. Her eyes scanned the audience. Simon Cowell sat with his signature skeptical gaze, the other judges exchanged knowing looks, and the crowd leaned forward, sensing the vulnerability in the air. Lira took a deep breath and began to sing. At first, her voice was soft, almost trembling, but as she poured her heart into every note, it grew stronger. She sang of love and loss, of fear and hope, of a young life carrying another within it. The audience was spellbound. Some covered their mouths, trying to hold back tears, others had hands pressed to their chests as if to feel her pain. Simon Cowell, usually reserved, leaned forward, his eyes glistening. Midway through her performance, the stage screen lit up with a video montage. It showed her life in the village, the small shack, her mother preparing simple meals, the ocean waves, and tiny shoes for her unborn child. The crowd gasped, their hearts breaking as the reality of her struggle was laid bare. Lira's story was no longer just her own, it was the story of countless young girls fighting battles silently, unseen, and unheard. As the song reached its crescendo, tears streamed freely down Lira's face. Her mother, seated in the front row, could barely watch. The weight of her daughter's courage was overwhelming. Lira sang not for fame, not for applause, but for hope, the hope that one day, people would see her as more than her circumstances, that they would hear the heart of her story through her voice. By the final note, silence enveloped the theater. Then, slowly, it erupted into applause. It was not just polite clapping, it was standing ovation, a wave of raw emotion. Judges were visibly moved. Simon Cowell rose, clapping, his usually sharp face softened by tears. "That was extraordinary," he said. "You have shown the world what true courage sounds like. Your story, your voice, your spirit, it is unforgettable." Lira, overwhelmed, could barely speak. She had stepped on stage afraid, vulnerable, and uncertain, but now she felt an incredible sense of validation. The audience, the judges, and the world had seen her, not just a teen mother, but a young girl whose heart and talent transcended fear. But her story did not end there. During the semi-finals, a new challenge emerged. Lira revealed to the judges that her unborn child had been diagnosed with a rare health condition. Fear had been her constant companion for weeks, but she refused to let it silence her. She had to sing again, stronger, braver, and more vulnerable than ever. Her next performance was no longer just a song, it was a declaration that love and courage could conquer despair. Her voice, now deeper and more powerful, carried the weight of every sleepless night, every whispered prayer, every tear shed in the quiet of her small room. The audience was mesmerized, emotionally gripped by her unwavering spirit. When she finished, the crowd rose to their feet, sobbing openly. The judges hugged her. The moment became more than a performance, it became a message to the world that even in the darkest times, hope could shine brilliantly. The news of Lira's journey spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with messages of support, and young mothers shared their own stories, inspired by her bravery. She became a symbol of hope, a voice for the voiceless, and a reminder that circumstances do not define destiny. As she advanced through the competition, the story revealed more layers of Lira's resilience. She spoke of the judgment she faced in her village, the friends she lost, and the isolation she endured. Every setback became fuel for her voice. Every tear became a note in her song. She demonstrated that true courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to continue despite it. By the finale, millions were watching. Lira's journey had captivated hearts worldwide. She sang with the confidence of someone who had endured storms and survived, her voice a testament to the power of truth, vulnerability, and love. The judges were moved to tears, the audience was silent with awe, and the world was witnessing a performance that transcended talent. It was humanity in its purest form. Lira's story, however, held one final twist. After the finale, she shared that her baby had been born prematurely, but healthy, and that the child had already inspired her to continue using her voice for change. She had transformed her pain into purpose, her struggle into strength, and her story into hope for countless others. Today, Lira continues to inspire. She uses her platform to advocate for young mothers, singing not only for herself but for everyone who has ever felt marginalized or silenced. Her story reminds us that life may be unpredictable, often harsh, but even in our darkest moments, courage, love, and resilience can create light that moves the world.